Welcome to episode 175 of the Healthy Habit Podcast. Hope everyone's having a great start to their 2025. It's been a great holiday season here and a great start to the year here at Healthy Habit Health Foods and Healthy Habit Medical Center. I'm your host, Dr. Dayan of the clinic here, located right inside Healthy Habit Health Foods. And look who's back here. We're talking Emerald Labs, the additive-free company, for our monthly check-in with Stacy Faulkner, who's worked in the natural health industry since 2000. As a national educator for Emerald Labs, Stacy provides insight and understanding to those seeking information regarding better health through proper supplementation and self-care. So get your pens and papers ready, folks. We're going to take some good notes, highlight some products that might be of use to you here to start off the year. Stacy, welcome back.
Hello, thank you.
How we
Good to
doing on
see
your
you.
end?
Good,
Happy
good. Happy
2025.
holidays. Yeah, happy
Yes.
holidays.
And so if you're new to the show here, you can go to YouTube, watch us on the video version. Just type in the Healthy Habit Podcast. We're also on Spotify, iHeartRadio for the audio-only version, even Anchor. So actually, Anchor is now under Spotify. So
Mm.
keep that in mind. Go follow us on there. What do you want to start us off with here, Stacy, for our first show of the year?
Well, let's see. I want to talk about, for men and women, I want to talk about estrogens and probably with all of the holiday, all the excess eating. Want to talk about oxidative stress that we may be, not very familiar with. A lot of men and women may not know, but estrogen dominance is pretty prevalent out there. And I'm not talking hormones, right, Dehan? We're talking about the daily gathering of toxins that are inevitable, that are imminent no matter what, the things we touch, right? Water, the foods we eat, especially GMO foods, poor water, just the gas offs alone for what? Things that we use for our hair or
Right.
nails or people in that industry, people that work in rental cars, hotels, factories, registered tape, just drinking the plastic water bottle or drinking out of the plastic water bottles. I just want people to understand all these estrogens we're talking about, environmental toxicity, um, uh, the plasticity that I just referred to. I mean, what else would you throw in there? Just
You
everyday
nailed it.
living.
Right. People not detoxing enough too. Like people don't sweat enough to help all that garbage come out through the pores
A
and
really good
eliminate
point.
properly. Literally,
Mhm.
people, if you sit in a sauna, they've shown that the sweat contains heavy metals and all these different traces of plastics and all this kind of stuff that can disrupt our hormones. So, men, we just need a little bit of estrogen. We need about 44 or less on estradiol for a blood test. Women need into the hundreds. But yes, this can definitely get thrown off. And in men, you get the problem where the estrogen's climbing while the testosterone's declining over the course of their life. So, absolutely, we have a product called Estrogen Detox that we'll highlight here today, which is for both men and women. Like I said, you need to balance it for men and women. And so, this product can apply to both. So, yeah, setting the stage there, that was great. That's a great intro in what can throw off the hormone balance. So it's not just what we eat or exercise, but all the stuff. Try to go to plastic as much as possible, right? What else can we do? What's a practical step on helping to get the estrogen under control from lifestyle and food?
Well, right away when you're talking about plastics, those stuff that we store stuff in. So I always recommend people start to collect the glass containers to store stuff in whenever you can. Put your water in glass bottles. Recycle your glass bottles to use. Um, you use really good water whenever you can. Watch the amount of processed foods. Just like you said, we're looking at tissue development, and the tissues can start to change in the body. And also when we're looking at estrogen dominance, wouldn't you agree that men really hold it like more here and here
Right,
and in their tummy, and women are holding it in their tummy and their buttocks and their thighs,
right,
inner and outer. And so sometimes, and they people get a little bit they tend to get a little bit more sallow with a lot of estrogen dominance, right? They look more tired and fatigued, and most likely they are more tired and fatigued. So, with that estrogen dominance, especially if we're talking with about men, men can take this estrogen detox and balance with our testosterone health, and especially if they are going to exercise at the gym, they can find themselves looking a little bit the adipose tissue, right? So you can start to lose weight that way too, because those estrogens are being detoxed from your system. And that's the whole point of this estrogen detox and balance formula. for men and women, I'll keep saying that, is that we're looking at flushing out those excess estrogens for easier elimination through the bile and urine. So we're looking at making people, and like that's
There
usually
we
when
go.
you're detoxing and your anger or your anger, your liver is a little bit angry and perhaps it's like everybody out. I've got to clean up. So he's starting to detox and wants to flush everything out from the day as much as he can. And it's only one organ, right? And so we need support for that organ. So we've got glutathione in our formula, glutathione, support for the liver. We have magnesium in there, which is a nice cofactor to produce more glutathione. And for listeners, glutathione is our body's master antioxidant. Right. And so he's just scavenging all day long, and we need to produce our own glutathione. And that we can do that by eating healthy meats, fruits and vegetables, especially good quality meats for the amino acids to build that up. Because glutathione is three
Right.
amino acids, right? And we've got the B vitamins in here, Dehan. So we've got the 6, the 12, and the folate. So we're looking at again weakening those strong estrogens, making them easier for elimination through the bile and the urine, or through the feces, through the bile. But yeah, so overall, and there's also DIM and milk thistle and I3C. And I3C, DIM is a metabolite of I3C, but we're really looking at grabbing and pulling those estrogens out, right? So the whole thing, you can see that there's a common denominator. We're looking at getting them out of the body comfortably without the liver having to work too hard. And so offering support through these ingredients, putting a formula together that's coherent with doing that whole job of flushing them out. And I think it was you, maybe Aaron, Dr. Aaron,
Hmm.
saying that this product works extremely quickly. So
Yeah.
not everybody has to do two every day, right? Think about your lifestyle and what you're around for work. So maybe would you recommend, like sometimes I say maybe it's one every other day, maybe it's just one every
Sure.
day, maybe it's just a couple, once a week, or do you need it every single day? And I get a lot of questions, and I'd like to know how you would recommend. Some people are, I said maybe take one in the morning and one at night if it's that strong.
Right. Yeah, that's where everyone's different. Some people might need the double, some people might need one or spaced out. That's where it's important to also do blood tests with it when you're on a product like this, or even saliva hormone tests. But also, while you're on a product like this, you want to make sure you're dialing in your nutrition. I'm going to do a quick screen share here on how estrogen can accumulate in body fat. This is
Yeah,
very important. Fat cells store estrogen. And so, obviously, the more body fat you have, the harder it is for the body to get rid of the excess estrogen. You can see here it's produced in subcutaneous fat. Waist circumference correlates with higher estradiol production in the fat levels. Estrogen levels in adipose tissue are higher in the circulation in those who have more body fat. So, if you're working with a nutritionist, or if you're interested in us here, make that a primary goal to get lean for 2025. We want to
right.
build your muscle mass while burning the body fat instead of just overall weight loss, because that can threaten the muscles too. You can see here the loss of estrogen with menopause is associated with an increase in central fat. So, there's different types of estrogen as well. There's total estrogen load you can check. Different types of, there's E1, E2, E3. Those are the big three, the most common ones to track. So very important for metabolism. So you want to get all that under control. Do you want to add anything to this? We got to get lean, right, Stacy, for
Yeah,
2025?
I think that's it's saying. It's like you can be thin, right? But you may not have any muscle. And
Right,
so the muscle, like you said, is so important for just for aging, for our balance, so for our flexibility, just being able to, people need to think way ahead about maintaining some muscle, because think about even as simple as opening a jar. And this is what we look at when we look at a lot of elderly people. How are they
right.
able to maintain? Um, but this estrogen is, I think, if listeners are hearing what we're saying, we're talking about circumference, we're talking about the adipose tissue, we're talking about the subcutaneous fat, um, uh, glutathione fat. That's very interesting. Estrogen promotes the accumulation. So now, if you're listening, you're like thinking about, oh, my belly,
Yeah,
oh, my bottom, oh, my sides, especially women, the
yep,
saddlebags. Men were more looking at belly, along with women
yeah,
too, especially after menopause. And then
yes.
with the men, belly and the breasts.
And then
So,
a lot of our patients, Stacy, are in the postmenopausal years, or
yeah,
the perimenopausal years, 50 plus, 50, 60,
yep,
70 years of age.
that's me.
In their case, You can get too little estrogen, where it just drops off of the good ones, the estradiol, whereas and then you get a buildup of the bad levels of the estrogen, like the estrone, the ones we don't want. So we got to flip that ratio. You can track the ratios of the different types of estrogen in the body too. So you got to just maintain that healthy balance. So then that we can plug in then the estrogen detox and balance formula, which you gave us a nice little intro
Mhm.
there. The glutathione, we have I3C in there, DIM, and you can see on the bottle it says for men and women. Estrogen's typically not on the radar for men, but you got to make sure you're
No.
tracking that with testosterone because they're only one pathway away from each other. So what happens in men is you get a lot of the testosterone spilling into the estrogen pathway, and then that builds. So whereas you're losing the free and total testosterone. So let's do another recap on this product and highlight some of these ingredients like glutathione. People think that's only for liver support, but it does a lot of things. Well, and if you can support the liver, that's going to help regulate the estrogen levels in the blood. Estrogen's a key regulator, or sorry, the liver is a key regulator of balancing the estrogens in the body. So go ahead, tell us a bit more about the estrogen detox formula.
Well, the glutathione is also helpful for that sulfation pathway, right? So the sulfur pulls out toxins.
Right.
So, I mean, these things are all so tied together that how they can work together naturally. It's just fascinating to me. The B vitamins that we talked about, oh, the I3C and the DIM. So these are from the cruciferous vegetables.
Yeah.
And so the DIM is a metabolite. So they do two different little things, but one common denominator that I also, we've got the milk thistle in here. Common denominator between the milk thistle, which is a standardized European extract, super potent for helping balance out the liver and detox it out. But they ha both have something called the NRF2. Have you
Right.
heard of that?
Tell me a bit more about that
Well,
one.
I just want to. So it's a protein that activates antioxidant protection. And so when I started just kind of going down that rabbit hole a few years ago, like common denominators, and this NRF2 showed up. And so I can just kind of, where did I write that down? Um, so the milk thistle activates the detox hub of the NRF2, and DIM does it as well. So NRF2, so here we go. The DIM and the NRF2 acts as an antioxidant stimulant by working with NRF2 enzymatic activity and initiating production of glutathione and other protective antioxidants. I think that's fascinating. And
Right.
I actually went and there actually somebody sells NRF2 as its own.
Hmm.
I had never really heard about that until several years ago.
Yeah.
Studies show that low concentrations of DIM protect the cells against oxidative stress via the tumor suppressor BRCA1 by several distinct mechanisms. But
Right.
anyway,
That's another good
um,
point that
yeah,
if you get too much of the bad estrogen, that can promote breast cancers.
just
That's the
dead.
gene that can,
Hmm.
it's like a light switch. You can flick it on or off for the pathway that can lead to the breast cancer development. And you see it's one of the main cancers that we see here. And in the male case, it would relate to the prostate, where a lot of guys
Right.
they have issues with the prostate and prostate cancer. So good, thanks for mentioning that. That's
Yeah,
important.
so DIM is an antagonist in the prostate cancer cells, and the
Right.
DIM stimulates the beneficial estrogen while reducing the harmful estrogens. So we can say that like with all these different ingredients, they're all tying together to basically break down those estrogens and flush them out and
Amazing.
support the liver at the same time.
Right. And then why are the B vitamins included in the formula?
So those, the B2, the 6, and the 12 have actually shown to weaken those strong estrogens, and the
Oh,
B6 has been shown and for easier elimination, but the B6 has actually been shown to take really strong estrogens and make them beneficial.
amazing.
I
Yeah.
know I I
Well,
agree.
plus you'll get that energy support where a lot of people with estrogen dominance start feeling very sluggish. And my internet connection was unstable there for a second. There we
Yeah.
go. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. So the lack of energy and sluggishness can happen when people have too much of the bad estrogens building up and the hormones are all thrown off. And then magnesium as well. Highlight that one for us. What role is that
So that
playing?
magnesium, I mean, I know it acts as a cofactor to produce glutathione, but there's
Interesting.
something called the COMT enzyme that in the liver, and the magnesium promotes the healthy excretion of the estrogen. So this catechol-O-methyltransferase. It reduces the risk of the estrogen excess conditions such as fibroids associated with low CONT function. So that's something that was very fascinating to me with magnesium. I mean, I understand that magnesium has like over what 250 different biochemical
Right.
things it can do, and the majority of Americans are very deficient in magnesium. And I believe that if people would be up on their magnesium at least 400 to 600 a day, and you can break that down throughout the day, that they would definitely have more clear thoughts. So many biochemical processes could really be remedied by having a good amount of magnesium in the system.
And then we'll finish off. Tell us about indole 3-carbinol a little bit. You did highlight it, you mentioned it a little bit, but we'll finish off on the I3C. How is this playing a
Yep.
role with the DIM and
So
the glutathione and everything here with the hormones?
So, so I3C, so it's called indole 3-carbinol,
Right.
and indoles are phytochemicals found in cruciferous vegetables, and so I3C tends to be one of the most potent ones, and then the DIM is a phytochemical, which comes from as a metabolite to the I3C. So we're looking at exerting anti-fibrosis, anti-tumor, antioxidant, immunomodulatory, detoxification, anti-inflammation effects on the liver protection. So that's what the I3C, the indoles are doing with the DIM. But also it's beneficial for the estrogen detoxification because as it's a naturally occurring phytonutrient found in the cruciferous vegetables such as broccoli and cabbage and kale, it's shown to alter the metabolism of estrogen to a beneficial metabolite.
Hmm.
So that helps to regulate the cell growth and helps to change a strong form of estrogen into a less aggressive form. So you've been hearing me say over and over, we're taking these strong estrogens and making them weaker, right, for
Right.
easier elimination. And so it prompts a series of reactions in the body that leads to the elimination of the estrogens, and it maintains hormonal balance for both men and women, supporting, like you just talked about, breast and prostate health. The I3C supports the natural elimination of toxins from the liver. It increases the body's natural metabolism of hormones. You talked about metabolism early on, and it helps maintain normal hormone levels. Therefore, I3C is a protective to estrogen sensitive tissues and may be beneficial to those with health issues related to estrogen dominance.
Amazing. And that's going to be a key regulator of hormones, of course, at the end of the day. I pulled up a little more info here. The I3C, again, indole 3-carbinol, that's in this estrogen detox formula. You can see
Mhm.
here towards the bottom, right above DIM, diindole methane. For people that are listening on audio, it's right on the back of the label. And by the way, come talk to Stan, the demo man. He'll be demoing products from Emerald Labs. He's very well versed in all these products, and he'll point you guys in the right direction. Just tell him I'm looking for the estrogen balancing formula that I heard on episode 175 with Stacy Faulkner. And again, that's right underneath the glutathione and milk thistle. And like Stacy was mentioning, this comes from eating cruciferous vegetables like the Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, kale as well. Make sure you cook your kale real well. Try not to eat it raw because this family can throw off thyroid if you're eating too much of it in the raw form. And here it is. It's known to stimulate detoxifying enzymes in the gut and liver. Remember, if we're trying to balance hormones, we got to make sure that we're taking care of the gut and liver, right, Stacy?
Yeah, right. I mean, the gut, the liver, the brain's going to feel better if those are both supported.
Yeah. By the way, folks, episode 175 right here on the Healthy Habit Podcast. We're talking with Stacy Faulkner, covering hormones, estrogen balancing in the new year here. A lot of people have no idea where they're even at. They're just feeling not good. And so that's a good first step is to track your hormones. A lot of the patients that come here, they've never in their life measured their hormones until they came to our clinic. So we have saliva tests available, blood testing, and much more. And of course, I'm giving another reminder, make it a priority to try to get leaner for 2025 and lose excess body fat because estrogen can get stored in body fat. And it's like a cycle. The more we have in the body fat, the more the body wants to accumulate even more fat on the different organs. And like you said, in men, it tends to accumulate in different areas compared to women. But at the end of the day, we got to try to maintain a lean body mass index, more muscle mass, less body fat. So again, it depends on the person. Someone might need 2 capsules every day. Someone might need 1 every couple days or every other day. That's where it's good to work with your doctor and track these hormones over time, right, Stacy?
Right. And, talking about, metabolism overall, we're in the midst of the holidays. People are definitely going to be indulging a lot more often with a lot more, heavier foods. We know holiday food, holiday
Right.
drinking. It's a lot of fatty foods, a lot of sugar. So, just want to be careful, just like we were talking about circumference and all of that, because you don't want to get into, like a metabolic syndrome. So when we're looking at metabolic syndrome, we're looking at all of that stuff combined, high cholesterol, high blood sugar, high blood pressure, and weight gain. And so your
Yeah.
your cells start to hold on to that fat, and so when the cells don't want to let go of the fat, where are you at?
Oh, that
You're
was good.
fat.
That was a great rhyme. I
That's
don't
all.
remember what you said. I want to
I don't
remember
either.
that. Well, good thing we record it because I'll go back and I'll capture that quote there.
When the cells don't let go of the fat,
Where you
uh,
at?
where are you
That's
at? You're
amazing.
fat.
That was phenomenal. Okay, so we're nearing towards the end of our segment here,
Okay.
estrogen detox for both men and women.
Right.
This is important to have its own show just dedicated to hormone balancing. And another thing is most Americans, they don't get enough fiber. And so fiber can literally grab excess hormones as it's traveling through the GI tract and eliminate it out of the body.
Right.
Instead of what happens is it gets backed up, it stays in the liver, gets back into the bloodstream. It doesn't have a way of getting grabbed and eliminated out of the body. So how important is getting enough fiber?
Really important. I mean, if people are not going to be eating enough fruits and vegetables, I know that's really hard. I do understand that. If you can get a juicer, I think it's important though, the juicer has to be like a cold press so you get all of that fiber staying in that, right? I
Yeah,
think that's what cold pressing does. Otherwise, we can get a Vitamixer. You can grind everything up as long as you're getting that cellulose from the fruits and the vegetables. If you have to, you can always go and get fiber from your health food store. And you guys have a great selection and just figure out what's right for you. If you don't want to do mixing, I just had a lady at the store the other day. She's like, it goes bad. I don't use it. So she wanted capsules. So there are fiber capsules that people can take or fiber blends to make it easier. But at the end of the day, you really want to try to get it through your chewing, through your cruciferous vegetables, through, those nutrients that are going to go in and benefit the body from the vitamins and minerals that are, available in fruits and vegetables.
right. Tell us a bit more. Highlight glutathione. I know you love glutathione, so I want
I
to hear
do love
more
glutathione.
thoughts. We'll finish on glutathione.
So, yeah. So glutathione, our body's master antioxidant. Okay, so I did come up with some stuff here. Um, it's important because it's in the cells in the intestines. And so they're exposed. When they get exposed, it can help eliminate some of these toxins that leak through the walls, which cause more oxidative damage in the body. So super important glutathione. I talked about the sulfur pathway earlier by helping bind and pull, bind or conjugate toxins to pull them out of the system. Um, it's our body's master antioxidant. We need about 250 to 300 to manufacture every day naturally in our body. So we do have a glutathione as a standalone. It's at 250 per capsule. And so if we're not getting enough healthy meats and vegetables to manufacture our own glutathione, or if we're a poor methylator leading to being a poor detoxifier, we might not have enough glutathione for that.
Right,
But N-acetylcysteine is amazing. We have a 2-month N-acetylcysteine that's a vegan formula. We have a 1-month 250 milligram capsule of glutathione that's in its 3 molecule format, the glycine, the glutamate, and the cysteine. So either way, and our glutathione is by it's a patented glutathione from a company called Cetria, and people could look that up. It's a Japanese company. They guarantee that be stomach acid stable and won't oxidize on its own,
right.
which is important. You can explain to the consumer why people are always like, you can't take it as a capsule, can only take it liposomally. But I know that there's products out there that are, technology has advanced, but you can explain why oxidizing in the stomach would be bad for your patients.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a long list of why that's bad. Number one is the hormones. Literally, if you have too much oxidation in the gut, you're not going to be able to detox these hormones. You're not going to be able to absorb your foods and nutrients from your food as well, from food and drinks. And so that's where health really starts, Stacy. And we got to cut the inflammation down. Like you said, glutathione's the master antioxidant. So if you have too much oxidation in the gut, that can really help to regulate that inflammation pathway that's happening in the gut, help us start eliminating properly, getting that fiber on board. taking care of the liver, where glutathione and milk thistle can really help with that potentially.
Hmm.
We're not giving medical advice, but it's just what the research shows. And milk thistle is in that formula, right
Yep.
above the I3C in the estrogen detox formula. And I'll just finish off with this note on why people should pay attention to this episode, because signs of estrogen dominance include menstrual irregularities, irregular cycles, heavy or light periods, weight gain, especially like you said, Stacy, around the middle abdominal region, hips, thighs, mood swings, anger, anxiety, depression. These are all potential signs of estrogen dominance. Breast changes, tenderness, swelling of the breasts, fibrocystic lumps in the breast, fatigue, like I mentioned. So that's good that the B vitamins are in that formula. Difficulty sleeping, hair loss, headaches, bloating. These are all things that could be potentially under that umbrella of estrogen imbalance. So we'll leave it there. emeraldlabs.com. Is that a good place people can go check out more?
Yes, yes. I have one other thing about the milk
For
thistle that
sure.
because
Tell me.
it backs up of everything that you're saying.
Yep.
This European milk thistle extract is shown to neutralize the free radicals and increase levels of the body's master antioxidant glutathione.
Bam.
Bam. And
There it
then we got
is.
into the NRF2 thing, the protein that activates antioxidant protection. So even though we're looking at flushing out the the estrogens out, um, we're still looking at the antioxidant protection that magnesium and glutathione, the milk thistle, are helping with that liver who's working so hard to get those substances out. And it could be medications, it's toxins,
Right.
bad food, bad water.
That's another potential cause of all this imbalance of hormones is excess medications or chronic use of medications or multiple medications all on top of each other being used daily. So I'm glad you mentioned that. And folks, we're going to see Stacy at episode 178 as well here on the Healthy Habit Podcast. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later.